You have spent countless hours analyzing financial charts, studying global macroeconomic trends, and attempting to predict the next catastrophic market crash. Yet whenever the stock market experiences a violent downturn and the screen bleeds red, your biological instinct overrides your intellectual logic. You feel a sudden spike of adrenaline, a terrifying sense of absolute panic, and an overwhelming urge to liquidate your portfolio to stop the bleeding. This is exactly how the modern financial system transfers immense wealth from the impatient masses to the disciplined elite. The amateur investor operates on raw emotion, constantly reacting to the sensationalized noise of the daily news cycle. They buy during euphoric peaks fueled by greed and sell during devastating crashes paralyzed by fear. This erratic emotional behavior is the single greatest destroyer of generational wealth. Warren Buffett, one of the most formidable financial architects in human history, absolutely refuses to participate in this frantic psychological game. He views market panic not as a threat but as a highly predictable biological flaw of the herd. To achieve absolute financial sovereignty and protect your family legacy, you must completely eradicate this emotional volatility. You must master the profound art of financial stoicism and build an impenetrable psychological fortress. The profound danger of emotional investing lies in its systematic destruction of your long-term strategic architecture. When you allow fear to dictate your financial decisions, you are essentially abandoning your sovereign executive power and handing control directly to the chaotic whims of the crowd. The media-industrial complex is specifically engineered to amplify this terror, feeding you a relentless stream of pessimistic forecasts and impending doom. They profit immensely from your anxiety while your portfolio suffers catastrophic losses. You watch the relentless news of geopolitical conflicts, rising interest rates and inflation, realizing with chilling clarity that your mental state is dangerously exposed to external manipulation. True elite investors understand that the stock market is simply a psychological mirror, reflecting the collective insecurities of millions of unprepared individuals. If you cannot look into that mirror with absolute chilling detachment, you will inevitably become a victim of its volatility. Buffett famously stated that investing is not a game where the individual with an IQ of 160 beats the guy with 130. It is a game where rationality brutally conquers irrationality. If you lack the stoic discipline to sit perfectly still while the rest of the world is running for the exits, you will never build a monument of immortal wealth. Enter the cognitive framework of Warren Buffett, which is deeply rooted in the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. At its core, Stoicism is the rigorous discipline of separating what you can control from what you absolutely cannot. You cannot control the chaotic macroeconomic forces, the sudden shifts in monetary policy, or the erratic emotional swings of the global market. However, you possess absolute sovereign control over your own reactions. When Buffett evaluates a business, he looks strictly at its intrinsic value, its fundamental structural integrity, and its long-term cash flow potential. He completely ignores the daily ticker price because he knows it is driven by the manic depressive mood swings of the herd. This stoic detachment allows him to view a massive market crash not as a terrifying financial apocalypse but as a magnificent generational buying opportunity. He calmly steps into the wreckage while everyone else is fleeing and purchases elite assets at a severe discount. By mathematically eliminating the biological need to follow the crowd, he achieves a state of profound psychological invulnerability. He simply waits for the hysteria to subside and for logic to return. However, the true genius of this stoic approach, and the exact reason it creates unparalleled wealth, lies in the concept of the margin of safety. This is the ultimate financial parachute designed to protect your core principle during extreme stress testing. By insisting on buying assets significantly below their calculated intrinsic value, Buffett structurally insulates his portfolio against unforeseen global disasters and his own potential miscalculations. This is where the trap reveals itself to the amateur investor. They mistakenly believe that Stoicism means blindly holding onto terrible investments while they plummet to zero. That is not Stoicism, that is stubborn ignorance. Elite financial Stoicism requires intense, rigorous intellectual preparation before the crisis even begins. You must have the executive clarity to deeply understand the business you own so that when the price drops, you are mathematically certain it is a temporary discount and not a terminal collapse. Without this foundational knowledge, your supposed Stoicism will quickly shatter under the crushing pressure of a real market massacre. True detachment is born from absolute unshakable conviction in your structural analysis. This elite combination of profound emotional control and rigorous analytical preparation creates an unbreakable financial ecosystem. It is a self-sustaining organism that aggressively capitalizes on the fear of others, effectively forcing the market to serve your legacy rather than dictate your mood. But knowing the theory of Stoicism is entirely useless if you do not know exactly how to execute it when your portfolio is down 40% and the entire financial world is screaming at you to sell. How do you practically implement this billionaire mindset to protect your family wealth from your own biological instincts? What are the precise cognitive protocols required to look at a sea of red numbers and feel absolutely nothing but strategic anticipation? If you fail to rewire your emotional circuitry, you will eventually crack under pressure. We are about to reveal the exact psychological execution frameworks used by Warren Buffett to deploy radical stoicism and achieve absolute financial dominance. Are you ready to forge a mind of ice and make your wealth mathematically immortal? Welcome to the execution phase of elite financial stoicism, where we transform theory into absolute structural power. The first operational mandate is the implementation of a ruthless information diet. Amateurs continuously bombard their neurology with hyperactive financial media, constantly refreshing their portfolios and absorbing the ambient anxiety of the herd. To master the billionaire mindset, you must deliberately sever this toxic feed. Buffett famously isolates himself in Omaha, far away from the manic echo chamber of Wall Street. You must architect a similar sanctuary of profound silence around your executive decision-making process. By intentionally starving your brain of sensationalized market noise, you force your focus back onto the fundamental reality of the assets you own. When the next catastrophic headline hits, you will not experience a sudden adrenaline spike but a chillingly calm observation of the macroeconomic landscape. You are no longer consuming panic, you are strictly evaluating structural data. The second critical pillar of this psychological architecture is the absolute enforcement of your circle of competence. Emotional investing is almost always the direct result of fundamental ignorance. When you deploy capital into complex exotic instruments or speculative trends that you do not deeply understand, a sudden price drop will instantly trigger biological terror. You panic because you lack the structural conviction to hold the line. Warren Buffett entirely eliminates this vulnerability by ruthlessly restricting his investments to businesses he comprehensively understands. You must define the exact boundaries of your financial expertise and brutally refuse to cross them regardless of what the ecstatic herd is doing. This profound discipline ensures that when the market inevitably fractures, your confidence remains completely intact because your foundation is built on absolute clarity. The final operational protocol is the radical cognitive separation of price and intrinsic value. The masses view a plunging stock price as a definitive signal of loss and personal failure. The elite Stoic views it strictly as a temporary pricing error offered by an irrational system. Buffett personifies the market as a manic depressive entity offering completely erratic prices every single day. Your job is to exploit those depressive episodes and completely ignore the manic euphoria. You must train your neurology to salivate when the screen turns red, because that is the exact moment real wealth is transferred. When elite assets are heavily discounted by collective fear, you do not retreat, you aggressively step forward with absolute certainty. By decoupling your identity from the daily ticker, you transform extreme volatility from a source of torment into your most powerful weapon for exponential growth. Implementing this elite Stoic architecture completely eradicates the suffocating anxiety of modern wealth management. You will never again need to obsessively monitor financial news, predict unpredictable macroeconomic wars, or lose sleep over a sudden stock market crash. While the panicked masses are desperately liquidating their assets at catastrophic losses, you will remain in a state of profound sovereign stillness. You have fundamentally transformed your mind from a fragile, reactive mechanism into an impenetrable financial fortress that structurally benefits from global chaos. The Stoic mindset grants you the ultimate luxury in life, which is absolute peace of mind regardless of external circumstances. It allows you to redirect your immense executive energy away from daily financial anxiety and focus entirely on expanding your eternal legacy. You are no longer a victim of the global economy, you are its silent master. It is time to step away from the chaotic casino of conventional finance and elevate your psychological wealth to the highest possible standard of global dominance. This masterclass is provided strictly for educational purposes, offering you the sovereign framework to rethink your mental approach to investing. We strongly advise consulting with elite fiduciary professionals to tailor these immortal principles to your specific portfolio. Do not let the next inevitable global crisis dictate the future of your family empire. Adopt the billionaire mindset today and secure your absolute financial independence against any storm. Please subscribe to our exclusive channel to join a distinguished global community of sovereign individuals who refuse to compromise on the safety of their legacy. Master the profound art of Stoic detachment, remain perfectly unbothered by the noise of the masses, and stay eternally golden.